Welcome back to the channel. The crypto market, as always, continues to keep traders on their toes. Over the last couple of days, we've been a bit of a pullback, and honestly, that's not something to panic about. After several sessions of an upward momentum, it's only natural for the market to breathe a little. What's happening right now is more of a cool down than a crash. It's also the weekend, and if you've been around long enough, you already know what that means. Weekends are low-volume days, away from the chaos. This is the time when the market tends to move sideways or even dip slightly, simply because there isn't enough volume to sustain major upward moves. Still, even with this so-called pullback, things are holding impressively strong across the board. Ethereum is comfortably trading above $4,500, and Bitcoin remains a titan, holding its ground above $120,000. Numbers that would have seemed impossible just a few cycles ago. This content is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions. The cryptocurrency market is volatile and prices can fluctuate rapidly. Invest only what you can afford to lose. Now let's take a moment to talk about BNB. In the last 24 hours, Binance Coin has actually gone up around 1%, which may not sound like much in a market full of volatile spikes, but at this scale, that's a huge move. BNB currently sits at a staggering market capitalization of about $160 billion, and that alone should make everyone stop and think. This is quite unusual given how most other major altcoins are either flat or consolidating. But here's the thing, everything in crypto moves in cycles. Eventually, BNB too will hit its peak, and when that happens, capital will begin rotating elsewhere. The big question is, where does it go next? And this is where things start to get really interesting, because as the dust settles and traders look for the next big narrative, the rotation is almost always towards something familiar, something with real-world use, something that speaks to the future of finance. This time around, that something is payments. Payments have been and continue to be one of the biggest narratives driving crypto innovation. Every major institution, from banks to fintech startups, wants a piece of the digital payments revolution. Whether it's cross-border settlements, decentralized payroll, or blockchain-based remittances, the infrastructure being built today will define how money moves for the next century. So instead of chasing every hype token that flashes on your feed or every short-lived narrative that trends for 48 hours on X, it's time to focus on what's obvious. Payments are not just a sector, they are the backbone of the entire blockchain economy. And when we talk about crypto payments, two names immediately come to mind: XRP and ZBCN. Let's start with XRP, the old guard of payment cryptos. The token has been around for years, surviving countless bear markets, lawsuits, and FUD storms, yet it continues to stand tall. Right now, XRP is sitting at around 2.96, and while it has been trading sideways for quite some time, the conversation around it never really dies. That tells you something powerful about this asset. People are still paying attention. When a token can maintain relevance even when its price is stagnant, that means it has deep-rooted conviction among holders and recognition in the wider crypto ecosystem. XRP's sector, cross-border payments, is a trillion-dollar market. Banks still rely on outdated systems like SWIFT, and XRP's promise of instant, low-cost international transfers continues to make it a cornerstone in blockchain finance. Now, here's where ZBCN enters the story, the next-generation contender that's starting to capture attention across the industry. Unlike XRP, which is already established, ZBCN represents the new wave of decentralized payment solutions. Faster, more composable, and built for integration with modern Web3 infrastructure. And while XRP sits at a multi-billion-dollar valuation, ZBCN's market cap is still relatively modest. That's the beauty of asymmetric opportunities. The smaller the market cap, the bigger the potential upside when momentum kicks in. A lot of people have different price targets for ZBCN. Some are cautiously optimistic, aiming for 10, others are wildly bullish, envisioning a run toward $1 or even higher. But here's the truth, because as the saying goes, a rising tide lifts all boats. When money rotates back into the payments narrative, it doesn't just lift XRP, it lifts the entire ecosystem surrounding it. And with ZBCN continuing to make all the right strategic moves, the setup looks incredibly strong. Recently, Coinbase integrated deeper into self-custody solutions, which aligns perfectly with what ZBCN represents: true ownership of assets and a frictionless transfer layer between users and merchants. It's only a matter of time before larger exchanges and institutions start picking up on the narrative that ZBCN has been quietly building. Once that happens, the next rotation of capital will bring this project into the spotlight. ZBCN has been trading around 0.41, basically flat over the last 24 hours, which shows stability. In the past week, it's up nearly 12%, and over the last month, around 4%. More importantly, it's been holding firm within a $300 to $400 million market capitalization range. That tells you that the weak hands, the short-term traders who were only here for a quick flip, have likely already exited. What remains are the strong holders, the believers who see the long-term vision. Another key metric worth mentioning is trading volume. In the past 24 hours, volume has increased by nearly 30%, indicating that while the price hasn't moved much, interest is slowly but steadily returning. That's usually the first signal before a new leg up begins. The upcoming token unlock scheduled for October 15th. Unlock events often cause anxiety in the community because they can potentially flood the market with additional supply. However, in this case, the unlock is just over 1% of total supply, which is negligible compared to past unlocks that caused volatility. There's another unlock of a similar size, again, minimal. This gradual, measured release of tokens is actually a healthy sign. It shows that the team is managing emissions responsibly and not flooding the market for short-term liquidity. In previous cycles, investors used to panic weeks before an unlock, dumping their tokens just to get ahead of what they assumed would be a sell-off. But this time around, the sentiment feels different. There's more maturity in the community. People understand that a 1% unlock doesn't mean the sky is falling. Instead, a step towards sustainability. Community sentiment remains extremely bullish. According to recent polls, around 89% of holders express a positive outlook on ZBCN's future. That's a strong signal. It means confidence is high, and that usually sets the stage for upward movement. One major missing piece of the puzzle, a Coinbase listing. If and when that happens, it could act as a massive catalyst. Historically, Coinbase listings have triggered huge surges for mid-cap tokens. And given the exchange's growing involvement with payment-based projects, a ZBCN listing feels more like a matter of when, not if. There's also speculation, though nothing confirmed yet, that Binance might eventually list ZBCN too. If both of these major exchanges end up supporting the token, that could trigger institutional liquidity and bring ZBCN into mainstream attention almost overnight. Imagine the trading volume if both Coinbase and Binance open their doors. That's the kind of scenario where price discovery happens fast and aggressively. ZBCN has been trading sideways for quite some time. Earlier this year, around late May and early June, the token was hovering around 0.00070, and since then it has gradually corrected to its current range of about 0.00035 to 0.041. For long-term investors, a slow, methodical DCA, dollar-cost averaging strategy here makes perfect sense if you believe in the fundamentals of the project. The current levels offer a favorable risk-to-reward ratio, especially considering that we've likely seen the local bottom near 0.00035. The overall crypto market is currently moving in a favorable direction. Institutional capital continues to pour in, Layer 1 networks are expanding interoperability, and the payments narrative is picking up once again. All of this creates the perfect environment for ZBCN to grow. It's no longer just a speculative token, it's evolving into a legitimate player in the future of digital transactions. At this stage, it's not about chasing hype. It's about recognizing projects that have staying power. ZBCN is building the kind of infrastructure that the next generation of Web3 apps will rely on. Think of it as a bridge, connecting individuals, businesses, and institutions through seamless digital payments. Whether it's payroll distribution, streaming finance, or tokenized real-world assets, ZBCN has positioned itself at the intersection of technology and utility. This project is it. It's easy to buy when everyone's talking about it. The real test is holding and accumulating quietly when no one's paying attention, because that's when the foundation for the next big move is laid. So as we head deeper into this market cycle, remember this: volatility is normal. Pullbacks are opportunities. And as long as you focus on projects with real-world applications, projects like ZBCN that continue to build, integrate, and expand, you'll be positioning yourself ahead of the curve. The payments revolution is happening right before our eyes, and the ones who see it early will be the ones celebrating later. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring you more in-depth crypto analysis and updates every week.